Hi, I'm Kenny Klaus, and this is State 48 Homeowner.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the State 48 Homeowner Workshop. I'm Scott Kooiman, and with me today is T.J. Watson, the computer world expert. He's the owner of Bits and Bytes Computers in Mesa. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
So, digital security. It seems to be that a lot of the scams that happen are people either listening to people that they meet online,
right,
and giving money to the Nigerian prince, or clicking on things that they shouldn't, and then just stuff that happens completely under the radar. So what are the different steps that homeowners can take to make sure that all of their stuff is safe and secure?
That's a great question. We're seeing it a lot at our shop right now, and one of the big things is remembering passwords. You notice on these websites and apps, they're always wanting you to, update to a different password,
and you have to have a symbol, uppercase letter, lowercase letter, your ATM PIN code, a
couple
numbers,
hieroglyphics,
and then they're like, no, that's too much like the password you set 2 months ago.
Right.
Yeah, it drives me nuts.
Yeah, and so that's a hard thing, and a lot of our clients are older, and even some younger ones, they come in with these password books. Mm-hmm. They're like a little notebook, and you'll see their password list. They're like, I can't get into my account, and it's, such and such 1, and then their next password in the line is such and such 2.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, this isn't working, and the demand has gotten so much higher because scams have gone up so much. So what we found is that the best way to manage it is to have something else do it, like a password management app. And there's a few different ones.
Probably a little smarter than right next to your computer, on paper, in a binder that says passwords.
Right.
So if somebody breaks into your home, they also have access to all of your banks and everything.
Yeah, exactly. The nice thing about these is that it's an app you can download to your smartphone. Mm-hmm. It can be on your tablet. One that we really like to use is LastPass. There's a free and a paid version, so depending on what your needs are, you can make that choice for yourself, and you can load it on all of your device. The paid version for a family, I think, is $4 a month.
Mm-hmm. And what's great about that product is when you update your password, it knows. It goes, oh, you're updating the password. Did you want to save that?
Right.
Or, oh, yeah.
Definitely.
And so you don't have to go and update it every time they need you to change it.
Yeah, and one thing that we're seeing is that a lot of the sites are really pushing people to come up with really, really unique passwords, and they're even auto-generating them for you now. And most people don't want to use that option. They'll click the little gray area below it, like choose my own, so it's something memorable, and then they're putting themselves at risk.
Yes, because if you're just using letters,
mm-hmm.
What is it? It takes a computer, maybe 30 seconds to be able to decipher that.
Yeah, absolutely. And now with today's
AI
tech,
numbers, now it's a little bit more, but symbols maybe 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. But when you have that gobbledygook that it generates, it's just it would take thousands of years.
Yeah, and you're talking about 21 characters, 30 characters versus Sammy my dog 1. So the apps have been great, and not only that, but there's a master password to access the vault that's on these apps. So you're only remembering one password, and that's it. And then it stores all of your other ones.
And here's the thing though, you never ever use that password on anything else, because if there's a breach on a different system, you sure as heck don't want to have your LastPass that controls all your passwords accessible.
Yeah, that's a huge point. I think it's really important to focus on, when you're offering that type of program to somebody, definitely don't give that one out. Don't make it a variant of, what you're trying to get away from.
Yeah. You don't use your birthday.
Yeah, your birthday, your kids' names, the grandkids' names, Some people use phrases. That's at least a little better, but you definitely want to make sure that it's something secure. One thing I like about the LastPass is with their family plan, for that $4 a month, you can actually set up an emergency contact on there. So let's say it's you and your spouse, and God forbid something happened to one of you, you can grant them one-time access to it in advance.
Okay.
So that they could still access that. Because we get that question too, like, what if something happens to me and nobody can access my information? Well, you don't have to worry about that now.
Yeah, and I did that with the person that is the successor trustee in my trust.
Oh, yeah.
I just said, here's that one-time access. And so I can change my LastPass all I want, and he'll still be able to access all that stuff.
Yeah, it's a great thing.
So one of the things that we had to do just before we started this podcast was restart the computer, and it says I have to have these updates. Talk about updates.
Updates. Everybody hates them. All right, but
I hate them.
You hate them.
It's like you get a computer crash or a program goes, you reset the computer, and you've got something that you've got an email that has to go out or what have you, and you reset it and it goes, hey, just so you know, we're going to be here for the next 30 minutes installing these updates.
Yeah.
How often do we need to do it? Are they all that important?
So there's a couple parts to that question. And technically you need to do them every time that they're offered to you. But that doesn't mean you need to do them right then. Okay, so I would say, like, if an update comes out and it's Monday and it's your grind day, you are just inundated, you don't have time, not even 5 minutes to restart your computer, then you can tell it no. You can also set up different schedules for it, so to where it'll only update, let's say, after like 6 p.m. Between 6 and midnight it'll do your updates for you so that it doesn't interrupt your workflow. So these updates that come through, some of them are important and others are not. And so some of them are just going to be like visual updates to the operating system, or maybe a new feature that they've added, which really doesn't affect you other than maybe something new to learn, whereas others are security patches that are really important, keep hackers from getting your information.
So they're basically looking at different threats that are coming out and fixing the holes.
Yeah, they're trying to keep you safe.
Okay. How is that different from like malware?
Malware? So malware is typically something that'll get into your system while you're navigating the web. Now, navigating the web isn't just, visiting web pages. It's scrolling through your email and seeing, you have a delivery that we need some updated information for, from like Amazon.
Or, hey, you've got a fax.
Yeah, a fax, and you're like, oh wow, and not thinking, hey,
yeah, it's not
fax machines just aren't a thing anymore. Yeah, but it's people get scared. And they click on it, and they'll say, we just need to verify your account information and, sign into your Amazon. And one of the best things you can do in that situation is just go directly to the website to check. If it's something from PayPal, go to paypal.com, open your PayPal app, see if there's a notification there for you.
And we see a lot of scams in real estate. Really, wire scams are a big thing where it's to the point where hackers will get access to a real estate agent's email, or a buyer or a seller's email, or a title company or a lender, and they'll just sit and wait.
Yeah.
And once they see that a large transaction is about to take place, then they see all the parties to the transaction. They pick one of them, and copy and paste all their email formatting so that they can send something that looks just like it. They'll change the phone number, change some aspect of it, and give new wiring instructions at some point. And so we take a point to, for all of our clients, call us.
Yeah,
we'll verify all the wiring information for you, because it is something that's just so prevalent, and you can't trust that what looks like a normal email is. If they're asking you something crazy,
you might want to pick up the phone and double check.
Pick up the phone. And anytime that it's asking you to click here to log into the system, well, you already know how to log into your bank. Just go to your bank and log into your bank and see if something's crazy. You don't click on the actual email. And it's kind of crazy what they've come up with lately.
It's interesting you bring this up. Just last week, I was at a networking meeting, and there was a gal who works for a title company there, and she was giving a presentation, and she was talking about staying secure with wire transfers, and she recounted an incident a few weeks prior where she got an email from an agent that she'd been working on a transaction, and it was requesting some wire information, but the email came through while she was on the phone with that agent. She says, hey, I just got this email from you, I thought we already went over this wire information. She's like, what email? And she's like, I didn't send you an email. And then another one came through. And so there you have it.
And
it must be a really big problem.
It is, and to the point where with one title company, we saw a couple happen in a row and realized that somebody had gone out there, and I won't say the title company, but the title is part of it.
Okay.
And they went and bought TIT1E in the same domain. They bought that domain. We even went to the internet service provider and said, look, here's example of the fraud that they're doing with that domain. And they're like, yeah, it's not our problem.
Wow.
And so it was, I mean, it's just so prevalent and not much is being done. And so just being aware of it. A lot of the online fraud, too, is being done overseas. There's not much that our local folks can do. I remember just in things like fraud that's happening with rentals, where people overseas will take listing photos from a home that's being listed for sale, take those photos, put it on Craigslist as a rental far below market value, put it out there, and just do it to get people security deposits. Craigslist will not shut that stuff down. Right. And it got to the point where local police departments are like, we can't do anything, go to the Attorney General. This was back when Brnovich was the Attorney General. They took the reports as long as they could, and then finally they said, we're not even taking reports on this. There's nothing can be done. They're in India or they're in Nigeria or things like that. And so it's just, if you see something on the internet that looks too good to be true, it probably is. If it's coming through your email, it probably is just a way to get a hold of your information.
Yeah, definitely. It's really important to look at that sender from address. Just because it says Amazon or Shirley, and Shirley's your aunt that you talk to every week, click on it if it seems a little off, and it'll usually say something like MXLTQR1 at something.eu,
at Amazon
or .ru for Russia, and you just never track these guys down. You can prevent it, but once something happens, that's about all you can do with it.
So so we talked about malware is because we're clicking on stuff. Mm-hmm. How can we protect ourselves? How can we clean that stuff up?
So the first line of defense is going to be doing those updates. Mm-hmm. Making sure that your computer's up to date. A lot of people don't realize this, but Microsoft provides a free antivirus program called Windows Defender. It's built right into the computer, and it'll block out a lot of things, but not things that you do. See, there's nothing that can really protect you from you.
Okay.
And that's what we try to impress upon people. And so for things like that, instances where you really strongly believe that something's legitimate, but you click on it and find out quickly it's not, but by that time it's too late, there's other programs out there. Mm-hmm. One that we recommend is called Malware Bytes Premium.
Okay. There's
a free version and then a premium version, and the premium version will prefetch websites before you visit them, so as you type it, it'll check that site, and if it's not safe, it'll block you from going there, preventing an infection. And the free version is kind of like closing the barn door after the cows have already left. It might help, but by then it might be too late.
So, what other steps should we be taking to keep ourselves safe?
Passwords. So, talking about password management programs. Another thing that has become very popular in the last 2 years, I would say, is two-factor authentication. A lot of people don't take the time to set that up. But it's very easy, and by two-factor they mean not only do you enter your password, but then it's going to text you a code.
Yep.
It'll text you a code to verify it's you. You just type that in, and then it'll let you in. Some of them will require a separate app, like an authenticator app. You just download that to your phone, open it, and it gives you a code that you enter that changes every 30 seconds.
Yep.
So that's another way to keep yourself safe.
And it's something that companies have been doing for years with RSA tokens and things like that. Now it's just instead of the RSA token, now we can just use a phone because it's
I remember you used to have that little thing in your laptop bag if you worked for a corporation or something. Yeah.
So how do I keep my home safe?
Your home safe. So again, it goes down to these passwords, right? Everybody wants to make things easy, and one of the passwords that you can put into LastPass is going to be a password for your home Wi-Fi, your router information, the network name, which is referred to as the SSID, and then the passkey. Make it something strong. There was an
so
incident.
it shouldn't be admin and admin?
Admin and admin or admin and password, yeah. You would not believe the amount of homes we go into, and it's still that way.
Yeah. And I think I would guess that 90% of people have put the modem that they got from their internet service provider, just hooked it up and just left it.
Yeah, because a lot of them, especially during COVID, they weren't coming out to the houses anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They're just mailing it to you. And then it's self-setup, right? You hook it up, and most people, well, I'll just keep it as that. It's just you and I here, right, honey? But then what happens is that as more and more devices start connecting to that network, especially smart devices, you start to get increasingly more vulnerable because how much personal information is stored on those devices. Mm-hmm. And if somebody can access your home network, it just opens the door to get to those too.
So I know a lot of modems, a lot of routers will have the opportunity to have a guest network, mm-hmm. which is great because that allows you to create a separate password that you can give out to people when they're at their house. Because how many times people come to your house, hey, what's your Wi-Fi password? And so you can give them that and you can change it. There's other ones that I really like too, for when you have teenagers, that it is a 1 day only.
Yes.
And you can change that password as much as you like. When my kids were little, we set them up on that, and I just never told them that we just kept the password the same.
Yeah, they don't need to know.
Enter it in, and after a day, then they lost the access. But yeah, there's a lot of opportunities for that too. But yeah, you don't want to just have your, I've gone in people's houses and they have the cute little thing on the wall that says, here's our Wi-Fi password, and just leave it there for everybody to see.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's scary. Once they're on your network, a lot of these routers, they're accessible through Wi-Fi now. Mm-hmm. So if you know what the actual IP address is to log into that router, which is pretty common, right? I won't say it on here, but a lot of people know what that is. And you just type that into your address bar, and it's going to take you to the login screen of that router. And if you haven't changed those passwords, boom, people can do whatever they want.
And they can sit there, they can track data that's going in and out, even though you're in a secured network. They can get some of that stuff.
This video is brought to you by Klaus Team Real Estate Solutions. The Klaus Team is different. With the Klaus Team, you have someone on your side. Where you live and make memories is important. We have more unique strategies than anyone else to help you accomplish what matters most to you. We can help you with traditional real estate as well as other options such as our lease purchase programs. We can help you buy first then sell, and we can bring you instant offers. We're here to help our neighbors achieve the American dream and help them build wealth through home ownership. For more info or to start your home search, visit us online at klausteam.com.
What are other ways that people are hacking in? I know that we've seen some issues with nursery cameras, mm-hmm. With different cameras that are in the house. What can we do to prevent people from watching us as we walk around our house?
Yeah, it's an important
and talking to our children through cameras.
Yeah, so Ring had a huge lawsuit with this in the past couple of years, and they're just barely now have got it all ironed out, and they found that some of their employees were actually watching some of the cameras that were in these people's homes, and the reason they were able to watch them is because they kept default passwords on them. It just always seems to come back to this, and so it's really important to set that up. So not only just on the device itself can you set a password, but through, let's say, Ring dashboard, and this doesn't just apply to Ring cameras, Nest cameras, any kind of video doorbell or indoor outdoor surveillance you have, will have some sort of a dashboard turning on that two-factor authentication. So even if somebody guesses what your password is, once they go to log in, it's going to send a text to you, and you're going to have the opportunity to stop an attack before it happens.
So what do I do if I get hacked?
Call out a professional. Seek a computer shop that you trust. A lot of people come into our store a little too late, unfortunately. But sometimes they'll have paid $300 to $3,000. Try and get their pictures of their grandkids back that have been locked out by someone that said that they'll all log in and help you. Yeah. So really do that, or have a company, whether it's us or, a Geek Squad, obviously I don't like to refer them, but if it's more convenient for you, maybe there isn't a Bits and Bytes where you live. Yeah. Have a professional come out, look at your security setup, And if you're not comfortable doing those things, just set it up yourself or set it up through one of those companies.
So as I'm updating stuff, what do I do with old equipment?
So one of the things that we started at our store a few years ago was an electronic recycling program. A lot of people would have old cables, right? Everybody's got a box of cables that they're going to use someday, and it's been there for 5, 6, 10 years, and it hasn't been touched, but it's taken up space, and the wife is getting tired of looking at it.
And I'm a musician, so I have that box next to just cabling and
yeah, all kinds of cabling. So it started with cables. People would be like, what do I do with my old cables? And then it was, well, do you guys take printers too? Yeah, okay, we can take printers too. And they're like, well, I got this old computer, but I'm worried about my data on it. You know, I've got tax information and everything. Okay, we can do that. But then here's what we got to do to accommodate that. We're going to do what's called a DoD level wipe on it. It stands for Department of Defense. So we wipe out all their information for free. Any old electronics, we then recycle, separate metals and plastics, keep those hazardous materials out of the landfill. And it's a free service that we provide. We decided that there were too many companies out there that were charging people to do this, and when people are charged to get rid of something they don't need anymore, they tend to dispose of it improperly.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, we don't want that. So, yeah, it's just, that's something we do now. So if you're switching out your old tech for new tech, you know, find a local recycler.
All right. Well, thank you so much. If people need to get a hold of you, what's the best way?
So they can reach out at our store. Phone number is 480-380-5340, or they can go to bitsandbytesstore.com.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks for spending time with us this week at State 48 Homeowner, the ins and outs of owning an Arizona home. You can connect with us for more information, submit topics you'd like us to discuss further, and you can see relevant videos, give us feedback, answer your real estate questions, and more at state48homeowner.com.